Very good. Well, welcome to our April 2021 Zoom meeting. The fourth latest freeze, according to the weatherman for the Tulsa area, will be tonight. So I've got all my little flowers covered up, but
Yeah,
I'm
and
going to turn
everybody
over the
putting
first.
your water on to drip.
Yeah, I'm going to turn the first part of this over to Tamara.
Okay, welcome to the Astronomy Club of Tulsa. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Tamara Green. I'm the president of the club. My husband and I have been in the club since 2004. In fact, next month will be our 17th year to be in the club. We are delighted to have you join us this evening. Our members have many wonderful opportunities to share in observing the beautiful night sky and make new friends and lasting memories. Plus, there are opportunities for public outreach to get other people interested in our hobby. You're always welcome to ask questions, offer suggestions, or even volunteer to help out at our events. New ideas are welcome, and we're glad you're here. All right, we've got upcoming club events. Our members only observing nights return to Friday evenings with Saturday nights as our backup for backup night in the case of weather cancellations. We are not planning public events until the pandemic subsides, but hopefully now that the vaccines are available to everybody, I got vaccinated, so I'm all good. I'm hoping that everybody will get vaccinated so that we can, stop this stupid thing from progressing any further. All right, members night, Friday, May 7th at the observatory at 7:45. Backup date, May 14th. Members night, Friday, May 14th at the observatory at 8 o'clock. Our next Zoom meeting will be on Tuesday, May 18th at 7 o'clock. And
Oops, somebody
oops,
didn't edit the thing, did he? Supposed to be June 4th.
that's what I was thinking. I was like,
Well,
supposed to be June, not April.
I'll have to fix that.
Both of those dates have already come and gone.
Yeah, sorry.
That's all right. But June 4th at 8:15 and not April, June 11th at 8:15 p.m.
Well, I got the time right, just forgot the month.
Okay, observing nights guidelines, set up your equipment 6 feet apart. Family groups should remain in their observing area. Children remain with family, adults at all times. We encourage the wearing of masks, especially when around other people. We discourage sharing equipment unless given permission by the owner. Our restroom will be open. Please exercise your proper hand washing and sanitizing. The classroom will be open for short warming up periods. Please wear a mask when you're inside the building. The dome and other areas of the building are closed. Observing these guidelines will help us continue to enjoy our hobby while keeping ourselves and other people safe.
Okay, well, I'm going to go from here unless you have something else to say, Tamara.
I guess that's all I got for now.
Okay, at our last Zoom meeting, we announced some summer things going on, and we had a mid-states convention planned for here in Broken Arrow, first weekend in June. But unfortunately, that has been canceled. The national leadership of the Astronomical League made the decision to cancel all regional meetings. So, despite the fact that Oklahoma is doing well, if you listen to the news, not all the country is. So, that is unfortunate. Uh, the national convention will be a virtual event hosted by the Albuquerque Club in August. And I was testing this out with my daughter on Sunday night, and she noted the little character there called Cocopele, which is a kind of a popular, I don't know, a god, a spirit with the South Western tribes. He plays musical instruments. He has a reputation for being mischievous and has something to do with fertility rights. So you can look it up. You can look it up and find out the rest. But anyway, if you know look carefully, he's got some planets on his little antennae there. So I thought that was kind of. She was the one who pointed it out to me. I didn't know what it was. But I thought I'd pass that along. Our friend Skip, I'm going to get off screen share here and let him tell us about our new Ash Dome project. So I'm going to turn that off. And Skip, it's your turn.
Okay, I'm going to turn my screen sharing on, and I even practiced this. So I am logged in twice, so I can see what I'm showing you guys.
There we go. Yeah, just clip on full screen. Just click on your PowerPoint button down there in the bottom right.
Is the icon next to the slide there to the bottom right?
No, it's a different setup on my screen. Okay, take two. From beginning.
There you go.
Okay, for some background, the club received a donation of a used 12.5-foot Ash Dome, commercially designed and built observatory dome. It was initially put into service in 1966 and remained in use until 1996. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
I
good.
can hear you.
In 1996, I was actually owned by my dad, built it on his horse farm in Alabama and used it for the next 30 years. And he had to sell the place for health reasons in the 90s. We got instructions from Ash on how to take it apart. It's been in storage ever since then. It's been stored in several locations, but anyway, the club got donated to the University of Central Oklahoma about 10 years ago for a project that they wanted to do, but their funding dried up with the oil bust that followed out on their heels, and they never did use it. So I asked them if they would donate it to the Astronomy Club when we acquired the new acreage, and they obliged, and it's ours now. We picked it up from where it was stored in Owasso, Oklahoma, for the last, since about 2008, actually. And let's see. Can you see the laser pointer here?
Yes.
Okay, good. Anyway, so here was our moving and wrecking crew. Pulled all this stuff out of the a former coworker's attic in Owasso. The shutter, a big piece behind everybody here, was stored in his garage, and most of the rest of it was in his attic. Loaded it onto James Taggart's trailer, tied it down, and hauled it to James's shop in Mounds, where we're going to assemble it inside at ground level, so we can figure out where everything goes and make sure that we don't have any missing parts and everything we have can still be used. Here's a picture of the unloading operation with a good picture. That shutter was even heavier than I remembered it as being heavy. And it was even heavier than I remembered. It probably weighs about 200 pounds. Everything else is small enough that is easily handled by 1 to 2 people. But some of these longer pieces. Just about everything's an arc. And some of these pieces are kind of unwieldy, but no problem for one or two people. So a few weeks ago, we gathered, James and I pulled some of the pieces out of where we had it stored at his place and laid them out on the floor of his workshop. And here is a wooden ring that's 12'2" in outside diameter. It's 5.5 feet wide. It bolts to the top of the cylindrical wall that's going to support the dome. Outside of that, this is the track that rotates and supports the base of the dome skin. And then in the foreground, these pieces here, there's 4 of them, are the arcs that support the shutter, and the shutter rolls up and over the top of the opening on those tracks. And then in the background, these are trimmed to the inside of the shutter aperture. The edge of the dome, the cutout for the aperture and the sheet metal itself is pretty ragged. You got various small chunks here that are bracing for mostly for the track rail, and some of it is weather shields to keep rain out. There are 20 heavy-duty garage door rollers that support the dome, and 20 clips that hold the shafts, and 20 neoprene pads. And fortunately, they're all still there after 3 moves and 25 years of storage. I might mention that the drive system for this dome is manual. It's dome rotation by Armstrong. And the shutter is opened by cranking with an awning crank. The awning crank hooks to a loop that is below this plate here that turns a shaft, has a worm gear on it, rotates this big gear, and this is bolted right at the top of the dome. And then this gear meshes with this track in the shutter. And it's surprisingly easy to do. It takes a lot of cranking to get it all the way open, but it's not that difficult to do. I was a pretty shrimpy teenager at the time, and that was no problem at all. And then also here are the segments of dome skin. And speaking of the dome skin, there are 19 segments. And and they're numbered, and the numbers from the factory are still visible, which is a good thing. So it made it a lot easier to figure out which one was which. This is number 1, and that is when you're inside the dome looking out the aperture. That's the first segment to the right side of the dome, the aperture. And then the next piece will slide into this edge here, and the next piece slides onto it, and so on and so forth. And way back in the background here, this is number 19 at the very back here, and it was actually joined with 18. We did a test trial fit on it, and it slid right in. The company says if you need to lubricate it, use detergent. Don't use oil, because oil will make a mess. And the detergent will just so we probably get some dishwasher detergent or the regular dishwashing, hand dishwashing liquid, and it will help slide it together. Although the one we tried was quite easy. And after 30 years of rain in Alabama, which can be tropical at times, every single one of the sheet metal screws that attach the sheet metal skin to the base rail is gone. I suspect those were so rusty when they took them apart, they discarded them. And there are several bolts that fit through here as well, and those are all gone too. And if you look at the layout of the bottom here, I don't know if you can see that terribly well, but under the rail here that carries the wheels, you have a flat, basically a steel angle with the angle turned up. Well, this forms a nice channel in here that traps rainwater. So this ends up catching rainwater and it stays there for a while because it doesn't have any way to drain out. And so it's gotten fairly rusty over the years. It's not terrible, but the rust is definitely there. And the rust is also, this is just staining from that rust. A few of these sections do have some rust on the dome skin itself, but it's not too bad. It's not perforated. And I don't even think it's really that deep, but it's something we're going to have to look at. And we'll be getting to that in a moment. And then the bottom end, this is the lower end of the shutter. Rides in this track here. This is the bottom. It's a brace that holds the two ends of the track together and gives it rigidity. And then this is a sheet metal angle here that the bottom of the shutter butts up against when it's closed to seal out the weather. It's really a fairly elegant system, and it held up well, and it was easy to rotate after 30 years when it was taken down. The grease in the wheels is old, and we're soaking it out with kerosene, or we're going to try to soak it out with kerosene and repack it. Just help them out a little bit. They're a little bit stiff. And rust. The rust never sleeps. And here are a couple of brackets I took home the last time I was at James's after working on it at James' place a couple of weeks, I guess the weekend before last. And you can see it's got this one was outside, and it's got a significant amount of rust on it. It's galvanized, but the galvanizing came off it. So anyway, but I know this product called Evapor-Rust that is excellent. It's a rust dissolver. And so I dropped these, filled a small coffee can with Evapor-Rust, and soaked that bracket in it for overnight. Pull it out, gave it a light lick with a brass bristle brush, and then rinsed it off with water. And I mean, it's just astonishingly clean. And then similarly, this is a bracket that was inside. This is basically a safety to keep the gear from popping loose from the track, because that's the only thing that holds the shutter open, and it'll come crashing closed or crashing down the back if it's partway open. And it too cleaned up very nicely. So it looks like we should be able to use Evapor-Rust to clean up that rust, and then treat the metal once we get it cleaned up. That is basically the upshot. Is all the big pieces, we got them all. They all seem to be usable. There's nothing bent so badly that it can't be used. Some of it was a puzzle piece. We have instructions, but the instructions are about 30 years newer than the dome. In fact, they were provided by Ash when we were taking it apart 30 years ago. And things have changed some, but most of it's still similar enough that it's a good guide. There's a few odds and ends that have changed, so we had to figure it out. Solving puzzles. I mentioned that the wheels need new grease. All 70 of the sheet metal screws are gone, and several dozen bolts, washers, and nuts are gone. They were probably either broke when they were taken apart or had to be sawed off. There are a dozen screws that are truss head screws. Truss head screws are thinner. The heads are much thinner than a standard screw. And these are thin even for truss screws. And I was talking to a guy at Ash, and he says, yeah, we special order those in lots of 10,000. So they're going to get some for us. A few parts need to be treated for rust. And I'm looking into the best way to do those big, clumsy arcs. And weather seal. Let me go back a couple of slides here. This weather seal is a neoprene rubber, foam rubber that in the intervening, out of 30 years of exposure to the sun, it got brittle. And in the process of handling and storage, it is completely shot. So this is going to have to be replaced. We're looking at where we can get some replacement for that. Ash has some ideas, and I'm looking at various vendors of foam as well. What do we need to do? Well, once we decide on which fasteners we're going to do, I'd like to use stainless, but I have some misgivings about using stainless fasteners with galvanized. I'm getting general encouragement that it's okay in this sense, but I want to be sure before I order something like $50 worth of stainless steel hardware and then not be able to use it. Anyway, we're going to, once we decide what we're going to get and get it, we will put the whole thing together, complete inside the workshop, take copious notes, take lots of pictures. Once we are sure it works, then we're going to disassemble and store it in the workshop until we're ready with a building to put it on. Meanwhile, we need to be designing a building and then hitting up some of the local foundations, put out the word for donations from members and friends, build a new structure, which will probably go west of the oil well, which is to the west of the existing observatory. We've got about 300 feet of land before we come to the edge of our property over there. It's open. It's convenient to the existing observing field, and that looks like the place to put it. And if anybody has any questions, unmute your mic and speak up. Otherwise, I'm done.
All right, Skip, thank you. Okay, I'm going to try to figure out how to go back to my share screen. And I was right here. So nope.
Okay,
Hang
we're
on a
back.
minute. Oh, here it is. Okay. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to go and look at our website. And I was talking with Don the other day, and several people, is it going to be clear tonight? What are these clouds going to do? Middle of the afternoon, it's cloudy. Is it going to be clear tonight? Well, on our observe page up here at the top of the astrotulsa.com are a number of little places you can click. On our observe page, we have these applications. So I'm going to try to find that page, which should be right here. No, that's not it. I'm sorry, I'll have to figure this out. Maybe it's this one. That's not the one I want. Sorry, guys. Don't. Aha. Let's see where it's hiding now. There it is. All right, here it is. This is our observe page. This is the second page in the site. And so first one I'm going to show you is this little one here is called Good to Stargaze. Actually, you can get an app on your phone like this one, if it'll come up. You can set it for your own location, except mine stubbornly wants to put me in Claremore for some reason. You can set some parameters here as to temperature, wind speed, all that stuff, but it comes up with a chart. And so this shows you what conserving conditions should be tonight. We can see it's going to be clear. We'll have Mars up till about midnight. Jupiter and Saturn come up about 4 a.m. Wind speed is low, but temperature is not going to be too good tonight. at least for an April evening. It probably would be all right for January. But it has some other things, as possibility precipitation, visibility, um, some of these other things that have to do with the visibility, the transparency. You can set some of those parameters up top. But that's a kind of a okay. What's the next few hours going to be till morning for stargazing? And you can get the app, and it will give you a week's worth of stuff. But anyway, it's called Good to Stargaze, and it's right here on our little web thing. Next thing I want to do is take a look at, well, what's it doing right now? And here is the National Weather Service for Tulsa. If you haven't been there, they're right next to the Red Cross Center there on 11th and 169 highway. I took my grandson up there one time. They gave us a really nice tour. You can see that we've got freeze warnings going on. Lots of things, but scroll down here and you see this one shows satellite. Just click on that. And you get all these choices. It's from the GOES East satellite. It sits over about Alabama or so and looks at all the eastern United States. And it takes images in 16 different wave bands every 5 minutes. I don't know what all of them mean, but I'm sure the weather people do. But this is the one I use. It's called the True Color or Geocolor. And you can get an individual image or you can get an animated loop, and that's the one I use. There's an animated loop, and when it comes up, remember these are every 5 minutes, so that's 2 hours worth of the weather. As it goes dark, these are not real images of the sky down there, but it shows you where the cities are from a static map down below. So here's Tulsa up here at the corner, and there's some nice things you can do with it if you like. Like you can go back here and look at several hours. There's that good old cold front that was coming through. So you can go out and look at several hours on it, up to 240 images. And you can also look at, well, come on. Uh, there it is, geocolor. You can look at the whole United States or even the whole globe. And it's kind of fun to watch the Terminator come across as night falls on the East Coast. And I've even watched eclipse shadows on the global view. But that's the GOES East satellite. And you find that by going to our observe page, go to the National Weather Satellite, Weather Service, go down to the satellite image. But as you can see, it kind of shows Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana, parts of New Mexico, and Colorado. This is the older one that we used to use all the time for its aviation weather, and it takes images every 15 minutes. So it just kind of steps through, but that's kind of the same time period to show us what's going on with the clouds. But at night, the GOES one kind of gets dark and you can't see much. So this one has a choice for infrared. And I prefer the infrared black and white. And you can see where the clouds are even at night with this one. In the wintertime especially, this is a good view to look at if it's doubtful whether it's going to be clear, because our weather fronts tend to come from, Colorado, Kansas, sweeping down across here. Do y'all see my mouse or not?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we see it.
Okay. I didn't know whether you could see the mouse or not. But so that's there's the infrared satellite, the visible satellite, current radar. It's okay. Weather forecast here, I don't particularly care for. Another one that we used to use in the past is called Clear Sky. It comes out of Canada, and it gives you kind of a broad weather forecast for about 4 days. Cloud cover, transparency, seeing when it's going to be dark, humidity, various things like that. But it's kind of like watching the weather here in Oklahoma. They can tell us today pretty accurately what's going to happen, but 3 days from now, well, this is a pattern. So let's take a look at 9 o'clock tonight. And there's the pattern for 9 o'clock tonight for the whole United States. So it's kind of a broad, well, whole northern hemisphere, really. It's kind of a broad strokes image of what's going on with cloud cover and such, as opposed to, what we are used to seeing here on the weather. But it gives you an idea, okay, is this going to be a good idea? You can click on an individual square to see, what the cloud cover is going to be like a couple hours from now. So anyway, that's the Clear Sky one. And the last one on here is called What's Up in Tonight's Sky. And we got this from our Bartlesville friends. It's an observatory company and as such, but it has lots of stuff on it. It has a little short video of things to look for this month as the moon's phases, a little chart of the moon's phases. There's a little video about the moon. It has some sky maps. Mercury and Venus are beginning to come visible in the evening. They'll be in conjunction in early May, low in the evening. And just some other things. There's another one. You can print up a month's map, which is a planisphere type map for morning or evening. And way down here at the bottom is kind of different events day by day. So here we are on April 20, and it tells us, okay, got first quarter moon tonight, and we got the Lyrid meteor shower coming up this week. The moon's going to be a factor, making it hard to see, but Vega, the brightest star on Lyra's, comes up a little bit before midnight in the northeast. So there's possibility of seeing a few meteorites, but I think I'll pass for tonight. It's too cold. But anyway, so there's some things you can look at on our Observe page. And if you've got other suggestions of things we can add, there's a link to our Facebook page and all sorts of other things. But that's just a little short tour. And for those of you that are new here, under the About tab, you can find our newsletters from clear back into the 20th century, late 90s. We have a newsletter every month, so you can find links to that. But that's not our main show. So let's see. How do I do this? Can you see my PowerPoint? Anybody there?
It's coming up. It's not there yet.
Not there yet.
I just saw a blank screen.
How about now?
You're not screen
I
sharing
see
anymore.
you.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Okay. Oh, about now.
Yep.
Yes.
There you go.
Okay.
Yep.
I guess most of you probably seen the news that we flew on Mars today. The little Ingenuity quadcopter, not quadcopter, helicopter made a successful flight. And hopefully this will work. It's supposed to work. Here it comes. The chief engineer, yes, this lady here, her name is Mimi, M-I-M-I, Ong, A-U-N-G. She's been with NASA for 30 years. Her mother was a student here in the United States, got a PhD in mathematics, and they're from Burma. But anyway, this is about 3 minutes.
Earlier today, Ingenuity should have autonomously performed its first flight attempt on Mars. Now the team is ready to receive the data that will tell them whether we've made history.
This is downlink. We are beginning to see data products.
Rotor motors appear healthy. All actuators appear healthy.
Ingenuity is reporting having performed spin-up, takeoff, climb, hover, descent, landing, touchdown, and spin down. Altimeter data confirms that Ingenuity has performed its first flight of a powered aircraft to another planet.
We can now say that human beings have flown a rotorcraft on another planet. Let's get back to work and more flights. Congratulations.
Okay, get rid of that. Are you all still there?
I'm here.
Still here.
Still here.
I'm here.
Good. I don't know if I'm here. I've got to go find my PowerPoints again. You never had this trouble in high school, did I, Gloria? Just had those little transparencies.
I was just saying to my husband, he didn't even have a computer and he was trying to teach us stuff. It's pretty great.
Okay, hang on a minute. Oh, praise the Lord, it's still there. Now, which one is it? This one. Are you seeing it? Anybody there?
I can-
Yes?
Yes.
see.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Our program tonight is about the James Webb Infrared Space Telescope. As most of us all know, infrared is a set of wavelengths just below the visible light. Our skin senses infrared as heat, but infrared has the advantage of being able to penetrate interstellar dust. The bright nebula that we can just see the light of you can peek through there and see all the stars that are forming. And this one is going to be in orbit beyond the moon. It's huge. It's like the size of a tennis court, they say. But it's going to be our next generation of space telescope, and it's been in development for several years, and it's supposed to finally be launched from the French Guiana um, in October. So this was the Night Sky Network program that aired in March. So we won't be able to do our Q&A, but there will be some Q&A that took place when it was actually going there. So we'll listen to it, and hopefully we'll be able to see what's going on. Okay, well, is anybody still there?
Still here.
Yep.
Still
I
here.
can't see you, but
Well, here
This was great.
it was.
That was great.
I lost everybody, but I'm glad you're still there.
And now I'm going. But nice to see everybody.
Nice to see
Yes.
you
All righty. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. We will post a YouTube link to this later, and you can watch it again or share with other people who didn't get on.
Okay. All right.
Good night,
Thank you.
everybody.
Gosh.
too. Night.
There you all are. Found you. Okay. Good night, everybody. Thank you,
Night.
James. Bye, Doria.